You know, my name's John Wright, and I just love telling stories. Now, let me tell you about a story about, it was about 1986. I came back from Nevada, and I had that orange Ford four-wheel drive pickup that I had, and then I got rid of that car. I bought a Toyota Supra. It was a 1986 Toyota Supra, and it had the spoiler on it, and it was a really fast Toyota Supra. They really upgraded the Toyota Supra compared to what it was in the previous years. It was the new Toyota Supra, and then they even went to a newer Toyota Supra, but it was never what that Toyota Supra was. That Toyota Supra was really a super fast car, and it was really nice looking. It looked like Magnum PI's car, and it was like that. Um, I won't say it was red, but it was really nice. And my sister, Bonnie, my sister Bonnie's the only one of my family members that ever really was nice to me. And I'd go out to her house and stuff at this time. I had that pickup and stuff and logging and stuff, and I came back and me and Bonnie has always been close. Where me and the rest of the family, we never was close. I mean, I want to say wherever you've seen me, you've seen my sister Patty. My sister Patty would always tag along with me because, well, maybe she's keeping an eye out, but also it's a safe thing. Hey, I smoke pot. Patty will smoke pot now with me. Well, I'll tell you about that story sometime. But anyway, I, you know, I could do things in the law enforcement or something might look the other way just because my dad, you know, I'll tell you what, another thing is right there in that little bowling alley, right there where me and my dad was first at. I'll never forget the day that the phone rang in that bowling alley, ring, ring, and my dad, bowling alley, and I hear him say, "Oh, you do? Which one is it?" Well, one of my dad's kids has got caught shoplifting down at Hobbs grocery store that's right across the street from the Morton police station. Yeah, well, oh, it's Patty. Send her to jail. Oh boy. I tell you what, I raced up that stairway and I hopped on my bike. Woo! Go down there, skid in front of the cop station. I go in there. I walk right past. I know that I just she's back there. I go there. My dad's on foot walking up behind me there. I see Patty. Ah! I forget that. That's where she belonged all these years, and I have a firm memory of her being on the other side of those bars, and it was one of the happiest days of my life. Because soon after that, the Shortridge boy will be murdered. But anyway, here I am living up in Morton. I've came back from Nevada. I've rented that house next door to my dad's. Rose Bush is living there. Wild and crazy times with Rose Bush, I'll tell you what. Boy, I got there, I met her uh, out there to place Julie, the Centralia whore. Don Burgess knows her. Big stories about Don Burgess and Don Burgess DB. Don Burgess too. He helped my brother in the Zodiac thing. Don Burgess says, "You do, your brother doesn't remember what he I did for him." Oh boy, everything comes back to me. But now let me tell you, I have that Toyota Supra, and I was right there in Morton, and I'd left my dad's house and left Rose or whatever. Rose was doing whatever she's doing. But I'm heading out towards town. And when I go out town and I'm driving that car, I drive lightning fast. I drive lightning fast where I want to go, and I have a little radar detector in my car and everything. A Cobra radar detector. That was the ones that I'd buy. And here I am just flying out past, I'm going out past the Indian hole. I'm not flying yet. But once I get out past the Indian hole and I hit that long straight stretch right there, I just open that car up just as fast as I can drive it. And I'm not looking down at the speedometer, I'm watching the road. And I'm watching the road, and I watch the dots on the road, because if those dots go solid yellow, go solid line, well, you're going over 150 miles an hour, and I don't like going over 150. So, but I wasn't going that fast. But I was going fast enough where I attracted the attention of someone again. Oh boy. And they let it known to me. And like I was saying, I had that Toyota Supra, and it had that spoiler on it to push me down, and that was a very functional thing on that car. And the spoilers and stuff, and man, that car handled good. And it had a sunroof in it. And I'm driving, and all of a sudden, I'm in the clear spot. There's no trees and stuff around me now. And I'm coming up, and I'm coming around. There's a river right there. And all of a sudden, I notice there's a shadow through my sunroof. And I look up, and it's a United States helicopter, Army helicopter, turned sideways, just flying along with me. And as soon as I looked up, and I just seen it like that, and I just let off the gas. And that thing just goes, and it just broke off, and it went the other way. But it sure let me know that it was just flying right along with me. Those guys that fly those helicopters can do amazing things with them. And I was quite surprised that day that egg beater was up there just flying right along with me. But that was the story of that one, and I could tell you another story about that car, about being in that car in the wintertime, and I'll tell you what, Rose Bush, like I said, Rose Bush, Wild and Times with Rose Bush. In that house, she brought me that woman, the black woman that got her hands and feet cut off, and they went over the black girl came to my dad's house for dinner. My sister Patty, my dad was there. There's a lot of stuff with my sister Patty L. Wright, Jerry L. Wright, and they work together. I know that for a fact. And if you watch the videos, through the videos, I'm not giving you bad information. I'm giving you good information. So, anyway, when I met Rose Bush, I had that orange Ford pickup prior to that Toyota Supra. And, I met that woman over there at Centralia, at Julie's house, the Centralia whore, as Don would call her. I always knew Julie. God damn it, I knew Julie. I used to go over there and get pot from her all the time. I didn't know she was a whore. I used to go over there and see her daughter that was like, Julie could have been my mother's age, and Julie's daughter was a little younger than my age, maybe like 8 years under me, or something. Not too bad. I had friendship with her. Only a friendship, by the way. But anyway, I'd go over there and see Julie. And by the way, if it was anything more than a friendship, when Rose Bush came in and she was looking hot like Britney Spears on steroids, nice looking butt, good looking tits, a little too much on the makeup, but so I've seen Britney Spears a little hot on the makeup too, or anyway. And then she also looked a little bit like Cyndi Lauper with the sides of her hair cut off back like that, all like that, like the boss, the football player type of thing. She looked kind of rad. And you know what? Me and her ended up taking off and partying. And we ended up over at somebody's place. Hey, let's go over here. We went over here, we're talking all this. We already got lit over at Julie's house. And we take off. And we end up over at someone's house. And I mean, I've never met this woman before. And she went into someone's house. She says, hey, come on over here. Come in, like this. It's cool, And I come in, and she goes like this, and she goes like this with her finger. And she goes like this, and she goes like this. And she stuck something in my mouth. And I go, what was that? She goes, acid. And now you're going on the same trip I am. Oh, boy. I'll tell you what. I knew that I wanted to get out of town real quick because, man, I'm telling you, I was getting high on that shit, and so was she. So we took a trip. We went the heck out of we got the heck out of Centralia, Washington. I hit the Alpha Centralia Road and I went out to Morton. I went out to Morton tripping out, and I'll tell you what, once we got out there, we didn't go straight to Morton. We went out there and we went out, we got on Highway 508 and we went out there by Mayfield Lake and we went across that bridge. And I swear, I can see the moon right there and it looked like it was so close to the earth. And it just looked like there was actually a teardrop underneath of it, the same size as the moon, just going like an hourglass. And I tell you what, I don't get high on acid very often, and I will say that I did get high on acid a couple times with my first wife. That brought some home from her high school over there at the Chehalis School. Those Bearcat girls know how to do it. And I had a couple hits of acid with her. And this one time when I was a kid, I had a hit of acid with Elwin Armstrong, and we went out and rode our motorcycles and stuff from Morton to the dam over between Morton and Mossy Rock right there. Road raced on our motorcycles over there. When we got off our bikes, I put the kickstand down, just dropped on the ground, looked up at the stars, said, Elwin. He says, what, John? I said, I am the bike. Oh, God, we were fucking high. And if somebody'd say, well, you know, yes, I have been high before. As a matter of fact, I remember a time that I had chocolate mess on my dad's Father's Day. I was invited over to my dad's house on Father's Day when I was living just out town, outside of Morton before I got married. I broke up with my wife. I was hanging out with Dan Dunn. He was my roommate just outside of Morton, right there. I'm renting from Al Colburn's that owns the auto parts store. And by the way, the black girl, she lives upstairs from Al Colburn's house. It's a small world in my world, you know. And I'll tell you, right there, we used to party and stuff, and I got Dan a few ounces of cocaine. And Don Burgess and them didn't like it because I was going right to Don Burgess's brother-in-law, Guy and Denise's guy's husband, and he's a Mexican. And I was getting the ounces for cocaine for $700 an ounce, and I was bringing them back to town. And Dan told me, he says, hey, if you can get it for $2,000 an ounce, I'll do it. You know, like that. He wanted me to do it. Get him it. He came to me, asked me, hey, can you get me? And I said, oh, I'll check. And I could do it. And by the way, it ended up right up there in Morton at that bar. Man, I had a road race from that bar, even after the shooting and stuff. Before that happened, I had a road race down to my dad's house right there. And my dad, oh boy, I goddamn remembered it. I was in the bar standing there, and I had that sports car right there. And right there is the rabbit hole right across the way. They call it the rabbit hole. Right next to, right underneath of us is the 4-lane basement at 208 Morton. And those cops came there and they looked right through that door and they seen me and they looked right past my car and looked right at me. When they left, I put my beer down. I said, hey guys, I gotta get out of here. And I went out, hopped in my car, and went around the block, pulled up in Mitzi Fairhart's house. Those cops had run around the block. They just passed me. They didn't realize I was already in my car in there. They went past me like this. They went to put their car in reverse, and I went forward like that. I went through the intersection. They put their car in. They went straight then. They went forward, and they turned down. And they went down past the school, and I'm going to have to cut this off. And it was a road race to my dad's house. And I got out, handed my dad the keys. I beat them there with that car, and that was fucking a road race. Over a hill, whoa. And I had my dad, got out, slid in the thing. My dad got up, looked out the window, and I handed him the keys. I said, I've been here. My dad ended up saying, what do you want with my boy? To the cops. I got to get out of here. That's just another story.